We're calling this meeting to order. So I'll hand it over to William Bell to do the roll call.
All right, good morning, everyone. All right, so we're going to start with the roll call. Eileen Caffey, Lydia Padilla, Lakeisha Mathis, Stacy Fowler,
Here.
Julie Fickus, Jose Argon,
Here.
Sherry Tillis,
Present.
Kimberly Chaplin, um, oh, Mary LaMay,
Here.
Allison Dino,
Here.
Evan Agrami,
Here.
Justin Bennett,
Present.
awesome. Michael Newton,
Present. Good morning, everyone.
good morning. Charlotte Hammond,
Present.
Kendra Holmes, Regina Greer, Danita Neal, Michael Graham, sorry,
Michelle,
Michelle Graham,
here.
Roger Spearman,
Here.
Justin Raimundo,
Present.
Lucnell Haberberger, and Susan Agin.
Second.
Thank you. So we have 14 present, Mr. Chairman.
I'm present as well.
Oh,
Yeah, Jerry Bowles.
Jerry Bob, sorry. So we have 15 present.
This is Kim Chaplin. I'm present as well.
Ah, there we go. That'll be 16. 16
Better.
present.
Thanks, William.
All right, you're welcome.
All right. Let's see. Are we still waiting for Mayor Spencer?
Let me pull up the agenda so that we can see. Can you all see my screen?
Yes,
Do you see the agenda on the screen?
we do. Yes. So
Okay.
next on the agenda would be the Mayor Spotlight. So has Mayor Spencer joined us? Okay.
Interesting. Let me see just a second.
All right. Well, I don't see Mayor Spencer has joined, so we can move over to Connie to introduce the Slate Spotlight. Connie, I think you're on mute.
Good morning. Justin, I'm sure you're tired of hearing me by now. We've been talking quite a bit, and I've met some of the other board members. For those of you I haven't met, good morning. My name's Connie Johnson. It's a pleasure meeting you. I look forward to meeting you in person one day and working with you. I'm the newly appointed executive director for Slate. Started here May 2nd. Real short overview. I'm an attorney. And I'm coming from federal service, just leaving Scott Air Force Base as an attorney for the United States Army. I don't know what else really to say much. I'm a St. Louis University grad. I have a master's in health administration along with my Juris Doctorate. I'm a native of Chicago. I am the proud mom of a teenage son, and I'm very active in about 3 sports that are currently wearing me out, specifically track. So I'm about 5 shades darker since you saw me last because I was out in the excessive heat all weekend. But a proud mommy nonetheless, because we're headed to the Junior Olympics at the end of July. So that's pretty much my world right now. Excited about what's going on here at Slate. Excited about both the challenges and the opportunities, and looking forward to another 50 years of being a workforce here in the city of St. Louis.
Thank you so much, Connie. We're excited to work with you and your leadership of Slate. We've appreciated your energy and commitment to the role already. So I encourage you, if you haven't had a chance to connect with Connie, I know she's joined our committee meetings, but please make sure you reach out. I'm excited to work with her in her role. All right. So thank you, Svetlana, for circulating the board packet previously. So I'll pause here if there are any questions on the minutes. If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Stacy.
I'm sorry, guys. I just got a text message saying the mayor's link does not work. Can you send her a link to the meeting? I don't know who needs to do that. Is that STL TV, Svetlana?
Yeah, I'll do that. Hold on.
Okay. Sorry for that.
That's okay. Yeah, while the mayor is figuring out how to join the call, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Mike, motion to approve.
Thanks, Mike.
Second.
Great. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Great. The motion passes.
Pardon, Mr. Chair, who was the first person to make a motion?
It was Mike Newton.
Mike Newton. And who was the second?
Jerry.
Jerry. Thank you so much. My apologies.
Okay, we'll just keep moving through this agenda until the mayor can join. So, as you'll see next in the agenda is the consent agenda. It includes the summary of the committee meetings. I'll pause here and thank everyone for joining. I know it's been a busy summer for many, lots of travel, lots of very exciting activities throughout the past several weeks. And so I appreciate those that were able to join our committee meetings to assemble this agenda. There's also, you'll see, I think we'll pause here first on the part of the consent agenda, the summary of committee meetings minutes, because we have to approve those minutes. So I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the WISP Finance and Executive Committee meetings.
William Bell, want to entertain a motion or to approve the minutes for the WISP and the Financial Committee.
Okay. So just the WISP and the Finance Committee? And the Executive Committee?
Oh, and the Executive Committee. Yes, all
Great.
3.
So, William, motions. Do I have a second?
Second,
Stacy. Oh, Sorry.
All right. We'll do Stacy because you haven't seconded yet. All right. All those in favor of approving the minutes,
Aye.
please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right. And then you'll see here, next is for our standard review, the labor force statistics of the city. You'll also note financial monitoring, fiscal monitoring, the quarterly performance review. Let's maybe pause on the bank account for a second. And the monitoring from the one-stop operator, equal opportunity monitoring report, risk assessment. So any questions on any of the reporting or monitoring? I just want to acknowledge, particularly during a lot of transition, a lot of timing as it relates to shifting in program and fiscal years, just sitting down with the agency team, folks like Shannon, obviously stepping into roles, obviously appreciate the continued leadership of Cassandra, Rebecca, and many others, Pete, that have been on the staff to continue the consistency as we transition. But also take on new programs. As you'll see that there were minimal areas of concern for us, but should you have specific questions on any of those reports, please let us know. Maybe we'll pause here for a conversation on the bank account. So this would be item number 6. As we've noted previously, the City of St. Louis Workforce Development Board established a bank account to function really as a way to hold, resources as we've thought about how to transition, particularly as it relates to disruption and potential federal funding with the change of the sort of federal administration.
Okay, let me. All right, let me.
Great. I think they're still working on Mayor Spencer joining. But on the bank account, I'll just acknowledge that we have some conversations yet to do on the Finance Committee as it relates to passing a policy to provide fiduciary responsibility and oversight to that account. But just know that that is still something that we've moved forward with and are working particularly to have review and approve new policies as it relates. There are several other examples of sort of workforce development boards providing fiduciary oversight to a nonprofit entity. Our friends on the other side of the state, the Full Employment Kansas City, Full Employment Council Kansas City themselves have a similar approach. And so we've asked the agency staff to look into best practices as we look to figure out our fiduciary responsibility and guidances. Any questions here?
Hey, Justin, this is Charlotte.
Hey, Charlotte.
Hey, so do we have any current funds in that account right now, or is it at a zero balance until we have a policy in place?
Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe Cassandra, are you able to speak to the status of the account?
The only funds that would be in the account is what was required to open it. We haven't had any fundraiser or contributions to be able to add to the account.
Thank you.
I will also pause here and note that as a key part of this process is we need to, through the Finance Committee, offer a recommendation on the policy, but also we would need to I'll say this, we need a chair of the finance committee. Thank you to Justin Bennett for having chaired a couple of the committees in the previous round of board meetings. And so as part of this, just want to note that we have an a vacancy for the finance committee chair. And that role will be helpful as we move to stand up these fiscal policies. All right. And then the next item, or it looks like the last two items on the consent agenda are related to the disaster recovery. Both the disaster recovery program and the disaster recovery community survey. First, I just want to acknowledge the great work that we've seen across our community in response to recovery and relief from obviously the devastating tornado. We appreciate and I hope that Mayor Spencer will be able to join for our thanks for her leadership, as well as the leadership of the Slate team particularly. With that, the Department of Higher Education Workforce Development at the state of Missouri has authorized or appropriated funding for a disaster recovery program. They've given Slate additional funding to implement a new initiative. And I think there's been follow-on funding since the initial tranche of money. So maybe I'll pause here for Cassandra, if there's anything you want to speak to the disaster recovery program. I think some obviously board members have heard this in the previous committee meetings, but such an impressive program. I'd like to pause and make sure you have time to speak to it.
Good morning again. Excuse me. The Slate received $250,000 from Office of Workforce Development to be able to serve 20 individuals at the rate of $20 an hour, up to 300 to 400 hours to serve with the community, to be able to assist with the cleanup of the disaster areas in various departments and connected with various entities or employers that are working to assist with that. So we're excited about that, to be able to put 20 people to work for the summer to assist with them and able to be able to get additional funding for them as well.
Great, thank you, Cassandra. I'm very eager to see this program's impact. Obviously, it's very great to see that Slate is administering these dollars to also help with dislocated workers, as well as address relief and recovery needs in our community through cleanup. Cassandra, would you be able to speak to the disaster recovery community survey as well?
Community serving, it's in addition, we also are using funds to have our youth participate in the impact program as well, so they get work experience this summer that is connected with the cleanup of the disaster.
Great, thank you. Okay, any questions here from the board? All right, I think we can move into new business. So the first, okay, great. Thanks, Connie. We'll just keep moving if someone just wants to signal when Mayor Spencer's joined. So our first item of new business is that Slate has formed a new plan for the 50th anniversary. So I'll pause here, maybe Connie or team, if there's anyone specific you'd like to talk through this item, and any sort of feedback you need from the board.
Okay, so basically we've had to pivot a little bit. We were initially using a third-party vendor to kind of plan different events. And now that we've had a mutual separation, the plan is overall to kind of move forward with some of those events, but maybe not at the same warp speed. So we are, and I think there's attached to the agenda, a proposed list of items that'll be happening monthly. Some of these items are things that are kind of built into what Slate would do on an annual basis anyway. Historically, we've been doing a Slate Day at the ballpark. Felicia has been able to secure 60 tickets for the game on July 29th. And we have also the St. Louis Cardinals, they're going to post our brand on the screen, 50 years of service. So that's cool. But we weren't able to get any more tickets. So we're thinking about 30 staff. It'd be great to have some board members present as well. In August, we historically have always had the honoring our veterans event. So that's going to continue. The push is just to make it bigger and better. And we think right now the climate is really good for events kind of focusing and honoring our veterans. Shannon is also looking into a day of service at the Missouri Veterans Home to make that part of honoring our veterans as well. And then again on in August, even though it's not, oh yeah, I need to talk about the Veterans Fair. We did get an update from Scott Air Force Base. The Air Force has confirmed, but they have not identified who will be speaking. So as you know, there's a 4-star general who is now the commander of the base. He's an African-American, one of the few 4-star African-American generals in the United States Air Force. Fingers crossed, maybe he will be able to come. He's a really nice guy. But if not, I've recommended the Command Sergeant Major, who's a wonderful dynamic speaker. And then I also sent a letter to the Commanding General for the United States Army, AKA my former boss, to see if he's going to be able to come. He's a 2-star. So we'll see. So we're, and I know there's talk about the National Guard. So we just, you know, the plan is to really kind of make it more robust as well. I'm looking over here. Then in September, oh, also not listed on here in August, we're going to do a back to school type of expo. Those of you know, historically, organizations like BF Better Family Life, Urban League have done like backpack giveaways around the school year. So we've been talking with our folks here at EDSI about a kind of a back to school event. We have 2 very dynamic interns here on site with a lot of energy. And so we're going to have some type of event, which may include backpacks, it may include other things, but we want to do something really nice for our youth participants who will be finishing up the summer program and headed off back to college. So more info to come on the dates and particulars regarding that event in August. In September, again, looking to do another day of service. Shannon is making some contacts with the Ronald McDonald House. So we've talked about serving food for families there. They've done that in the past. Well, Shannon's done that in the past, I think through the Masons group. And then Jason is going to contact Peter and Paul to see what events they have. As you know, that's our subrecipient that provides services for the homeless. So we're hoping that we'll be able to partner with them. You know, one of the things I've talked about is being a partner, not only in paper, but in practice and in theory. So if we're able to do something with them, that would also be great. And probably the biggest thing is if you could scroll down, Cephalana, we've been notified by the St. Louis chapter for the NAACP that Slate will be honored at the annual Freedom Fund dinner on Saturday, October 4th. The theme this year is workforce. So the organization will be honored. It's my understanding they'll put together a little short video about the agency. And you know, it's more to come. We haven't gotten the official letter, just gotten the phone call, mark your calendars, and more to follow. In November, we will have our regular scheduled board meeting. And at this time, we'd like to present awards to our partners such as EDSI, Peter and Paul. I've also recommended, I'd like to invite Freddie, being that she was the executive director as part of the 50th anniversary year. I believe she should be acknowledged. So we'll be sending an invitation to her. And also we want to recognize Rebecca Wright and Gretchen Mullen. You know, Rebecca was our attorney who passed away after a long battle with cancer, and then Miss Gretchen recently passed. We'd like to have special plaques made for them and dedicate office spaces in their memory as part of that November meeting. We'll have a staff luncheon, Thanksgiving luncheon, where we'll try to adopt a family, maybe 2 families, drop that off, and then we'll work with internally to identify what families will receive the food, and we may even be able to do more, particularly with Better Family Life, kind of stepping up, saying, hey, we want to partner more with you. That may open the door to more resources and our ability to help more families, because at this point, the needs are really, really high. In December, the Holly Jolly Holiday Job Fair, my understanding, is kind of a big hit. So that's going to continue. And I guess the thing is going to be bigger and better. Just keep, you know, if it ain't, I guess the general theory theme you're probably hearing from me is that if it ain't broke, we're not going to fix it. You know, these are events that are part of the DNA of Slate. They are successful. They are well known. We will continue moving forward with them. And just because it's our 50th anniversary, we'll do it bigger and better. You know, we'll collaborate, we'll celebrate, and the 50th anniversary of this agency will definitely be known. Okay, so this is kind of a very kind of a tentative, well, pretty much these dates are set though. There may be some additional items that come up. The holiday party, obviously, a similar to Thanksgiving, adopt a family, and create the week-long celebration and celebrating Kwanzaa. So we're open to additional suggestions, but this is pretty much it. We have to work within the confines of budgetary constraints and some, you know, pivoting that we've had to do. But I think that this is a pretty good reflection, gives us a decent itinerary to actually celebrate the agency, our partners, and the people that we serve. So that's what we're hoping to do. And I take any questions right now. And let me, Asia, I don't know what's going on, but somebody's going to have to call the mayor. I'm going to hop off because I think there's some communication issue with the link. They're saying she's on the attendee side. So I'm going to hop off and see if I can coordinate, or either just see if she will just talk through my cell phone. Even though I am a cyber law professor, I am sometimes technologically challenged. So she has just sent me another text basically saying that she remains here. The chat is disabled, so she can't chat to let people know that she is in. So I don't, at this point, I honestly don't know what to do or what to tell her.
Hi, Asia. I see her on the attendee side. Could you please give her, allow her to speak?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now she can hear me.
Yeah, she can hear us. She is on a public side, but she cannot speak at this time. But Miss Asia will
She
give
should
her
be
the
able to
right.
talk now.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, Mayor Spencer.
Good morning. I was tuning in to the presentation. You just couldn't see me. So I think I think the link I was given was for the public, as Asia was saying. So, but I could hear what was going on. You just couldn't see that I was here.
Great. Well, thank you, Mayor Spencer, for joining us. I'm happy to hand it over to you for your spotlight.
Well, thank you. I just wanted to again say good morning and thank you for your service. You know, workforce development is and has been and remains a priority, a key priority for the city of St. Louis. I think it's, you know, going to be even more important in light of the tornado the destruction that happened to our community, but also so many small businesses, local businesses that were impacted. People's ability to work was impacted through the tornado. People's cars were destroyed. There is a huge workforce component and investment that we're going to have to figure out how to make sure people still have the ability to get to work, et cetera, and be part of a meaningful workforce. You know, I think in terms of the neighborhood businesses lost, the corridors that have been so badly impacted, to focus on how we can make sure that we're making the community impacted by the tornado and the city as a whole poised better to be able to respond to disasters like this, but to be a workforce that has the ability to bounce back quickly from things like this. And so I'm really excited to be able to serve on this board. I'm excited to have the leadership of Connie Johnson here at Slate. Connie, it was great to hear your update and your perspective and the path for the next year, or at least through the end of this year, the calendar for Slate, celebrating the 50 years of the organization. I think you bring a breath of fresh air, and I'm really grateful that you're as well recognizing the work done before you and recognizing Freddie. I think that really, really speaks to the character of leadership of Slate, as well as the organization and the work that this organization has done over the long haul. So I'm excited to be a part of this, and I'm just really excited and grateful for the work that you all are doing here as a board.
Thank you so much, Mayor Spencer. We appreciate your commitment to collaborating with us, your commitment to workforce development, particularly as it relates to an inclusive and yet, as you spoke to, resilient economy for our community. And thank you again, Connie, for joining us and your leadership in your role. So I'll pause here. Thank you, Connie, for the review of the year, the pivot, as you noted. I'll pause here for any questions. But actually, first, Connie, are there any encouragements or recommendations where you'd like the board to be more involved in any specific part of this plan?
Well, one thing, in addition, yes, absolutely. It would be great to have board members come and actually participate in the recognition at the NAACP dinner. There'll be more details that we're trying to push for. And it actually would be great if we could get board member participation for that video that they're going to make in terms of telling the story of Slate. So it would very much, I think, because they're going to do this like 5-minute video, I think I'd like to have some buy-in from the board on that, and participation. And also, you know, we've never, I know we didn't get a chance to address the whole fundraising component, but, you know, we are in a time right now where the people who are coming through the doors at Slate, they need more than jobs. And the wraparound component has become more important than ever. I would say that. And so to the extent when we are adopting these families for Thanksgiving and the holidays, if board members would like to help participate, that would be, I think, a very welcome addition right now. We've never really requested that type of assistance from the board. But I think, as Mayor Spencer said, the tornado has kind of added another layer of some of the socioeconomic challenges that the city of St. Louis faces. I've said that some of you may know that here at Slate, 7 families, including myself, were impacted by the tornado, and we're going through the egregious process of dealing with insurance and lowballing. And, you know, we have 2 employees that have lost their homes completely. They've lost everything, you know. So we are not only dealing with the external hemorrhage and effects of the storm, but the internal. So I know that we have at least one employee. She's very, very proud and modest, but she's in need of a lot of different things, from towels to dishes. You know, she's but she doesn't want to ask and she doesn't want it on blast. But you know, if I've kind of have a quiet campaign of saying, hey, if you've bought stuff and it's just been sitting in your closet and you're never using it, you want to get rid of it. If you don't give it to Goodwill or someplace, you know, consider donating to us for these families that are in need, who are starting over from scratch. And having the military kind of background and philosophy, you know, you don't leave soldiers behind. So we can't be out here trying to do the work for the public if we don't take care of our own. So any assistance that board members might want to refer or recommend, and I see the Amazon wish list, that's great. I will talk to the two employees to see if they would be willing to put together a wish list and work from there. I think because one of them has like a 4-year-old daughter, you know, and so it's just it's very emotional for her because it's her childhood home. She grew up in her home, and unfortunately, the insurance policy just lapsed a few months prior. So, so anyway, it kind of deviated a little bit, but in addition to that, the impact of Job Corps, the potential closing. We've been having people come in and we've been giving them hygiene products, some of the dry food. So we had a couple of donors who gave dry food, cleaning products, and we were able to make baskets for the families impacted. We have some extras. So we've been using those extra products to help people who have come in to the agency saying, I need. I know we also have the homeless camp, a small kind of camp, if you will, right directly across the street in the park. And we have at least 2 young men. I don't even think they're 25, but they've been coming over here for products and whatever food, and we've been setting them up for showers and that kind of thing. So it's this wraparound component. People are coming here. I'm glad that they're coming here. Okay, I'm glad that they feel like we are a resource. But sometimes their needs far exceed our scope. And so what we are really trying to do is to ask and plead our partners to assist us to be more robust in terms of this partnership. And we had a meeting with Better Family Life, and they talked about that they receive donations and sometimes they don't have enough space. So we need to do some cleaning here because we do have space. We've also talked about bringing back the career closet because we can give people training. We can help them even with interviews, but if they don't have the clothes to make the physical appearance, they won't get the job. So that's another need, but it is part of workforce. You know, people need to be able to dress the part, need to have the basic business wear when they go for these interviews. So that's a project we've been talking about as well with EDSI as well. Okay, so that's so we got that going, and just I guess our hiring fairs. We have been doing a lot of the calendar, and I think you all have the calendar for the hiring fairs for the remainder of the year. To the extent that you guys have recommendations, because some of those are sector based, like the one on tomorrow is transportation, education, and logistics. So we have been in discussions with BioSTL, Tech STL, to have their participation. So if you have recommendations when we're having these job fairs, particularly those based on certain sectors, we'd love to hear recommendations. We'd love to have points of contact to invite those individuals to come to these particular events as well. I think another thing is that when we have started a kind of a little cable TV show, if you will, with STL TV. It's called Slate, the Force Behind the Workforce. And these are 15-minute segments. It would be great if any of the board members would be interested in being interviewed for one or a couple of those segments in terms of the spirit of who we are and what we do. So that basically is kind of all I have kind of on the top of my head right now. Probably a lot more, you know, our doors are open, you know, the mission remains unchanged, but I think just again, the tornado, the Job Corps, and just the regular things that happen in St. Louis, you know, particularly in the summertime with these youth and trying to get these kids off the street. We need, and back on the military, we need all hands on deck. So if you have any recommendations, any suggestions, any resources, we welcome them. And I welcome any additional guidance that you're willing to give. And I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Connie. Thank you for your leadership and partnership across the community. Jerry acknowledged a lot of the suggestions. Thank you in the chat. There's many of us and with many different vantage points in our organizations that I know have been contributing during this period of time, but and also been longstanding partners, thought partners with Slate and across the city of St. Louis as we work to recover and respond. So I'll pause here. Any questions or from the board?
No question, but I just want to thank you, Connie, for just bringing awareness to the board of the staff. So just offline, if someone could communicate directly with me, have my email to make some donations.
Great, thank you.
Yes, thank you. And we appreciate the communication from Svetlana and others on where the board can continue to participate. I've noticed obviously the communication on job fairs, but yes, continued communication on where we can plug in, I think would be appreciated from all of us as we figure out the best way to be supportive. But thank you for highlighting those opportunities, Connie, and I encourage our board to contribute where we can.
Thank you.
All right, so the next item would be matters from the board. I'll pause here. Are there any matters from any members of our board that we want to raise? I think I'll just pause here and then again, thank you, Connie, for your quick transition into this role, your leadership, and your work to directly engage those of us on the board in committee meetings and one-on-one conversations. And I look forward to continuing to work with you. I appreciate the obviously the Slate leadership as well that has remained consistent and tried and true and helping us navigate all of these different programs and strategies and opportunities that are ahead of us. Yeah, Stacy.
I kind of want to echo, I've had the opportunity to meet with Connie and the team when we were really talking about the youth. You know, it's getting ready to be warm. These kids are out of school. They need productive things to do. And the resources that Slate has had in the past, they really don't have. And what I'm saying here is normally everybody is used to Slate just sending youth to them, and Slate has been responsible for paying the wages for those youth and, of course, doing workman's comp and that kind of thing. The times have changed. We need these employers to step to the plate and pay for the youth to be there. Connie and them might still be able to do the workman's comp, but they need to come up with the wages for these youth. Even us as workforce board members, we all represent an organization, or we all know other businesses out there that could use a youth or two. And the Slate team really needs the board to really kind of step in and help here, because they only have enough money for 100, but they got a portal full of 600. So there are 500 youth out there that they don't have resources for to do something this summer, and they already have been identified. It's not like they don't know who these folks are. So she is really needing our help. And the agency is really needing our help to help identify employers, nonprofits, organizations that these youth can go to, and they give them the skills and they pay for them to be there. So I've said my piece. I'm just asking the board to help.
Thank you, Stacy. +1 to your comments. As we know that this is the part where we really need to be working collectively as we deal with different resource constraints. I'm sure many of you are experiencing across your fields and your organizations. I think now is a time for us to really make sure that we look from our, across our partnerships, across our programs, across our sort of ability as employers, representatives of organizations, to make sure that there's thoughtful partnership with Slate. So I sort of echo Stacy's encouragement. I know, as Connie mentioned, my team has worked particularly with Slate as it relates to bioscience careers. And so I encourage you all, as you're able, to continue to share resources and connections, particularly as we deal with some challenging resource constraints. All right. Unless there's any other matters, I'll hand it over to Connie for her report.
I think I've almost given most of the report. I'm gonna ask Cassandra. So we are, thanks Stacy, that was a good kind of the opening, the kids, okay? Just like she said, you got 600. I know earlier Cassandra had indicated that we're gonna try to move some money around, basically robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's the end of the fiscal year. So there's a very, very small pot that we might be able to add. And I don't know if Cassandra, if you want to speak a little bit to that and what that looks like for us.
Good morning again. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Yes, we are in process of doing a couple of what we call budget modifications to add. One of them is to add an additional $105,000 of ARPA funds from the administrative side to the program side to be able to serve some additional youth for the summer. So that is Slate administration yielding 105 of our funds to the program side that would be earmarked primarily for work experience and support for the youth in that summer youth employment program. We're also looking at potentially some other options to be able to add some more additional funds for the summer youth program through our ECHO DEVO funding. However, that requires multiple steps in order to be able to do that, in addition to convening a three-pronged team to be able to move those money into that line. Just as Connie said, we are just exploring all of the options potentially that we may have on our end to be able to do that, but we certainly could use the additional assistance if you are aware of any opportunities for our youth.
So, so thanks Cassandra for that. And again, thanks Stacy. We did, Stacy, we met with her team yesterday with the same kind of plea. So, you know, the struggle is real and it continues. In addition, and along, although we can't, I'll state this and then go into the next point. Although we cannot state with specificity that the uptick in youth applicants is tied to the tornado, we do have reason to believe that the numbers have increased in part because of it. We do have people walking through the doors who are saying they now need a job, you know, maybe they hadn't planned on it, but, you know, for whatever reason, there's been a loss of income to their home. So we do have a workforce survey, not necessarily sure if that will help capture the data for these youth, but last summer we were able to hire 200. So we are hoping to, at minimum, be able to hire 200 this year. In addition, we've been part of a FEMA Disaster Assistance Center that was created at the Chaffetz Arena. I think this was an organized effort to bring like all different resources under one roof. So we've had 2 tables there. Staff have been rotating over there to provide information regarding job search and information about our programs. So this is the last week for it. Don't know if they plan on continuing it, but this recovery effort is a marathon and not a sprint. So hopefully they will maybe keep this going in some form or some limited capacity because staff have come back with positive and rave reviews talking about the need for that and how they're glad to participate in this center. Another key initiative as it pertains to what we're doing right now is rapid response efforts associated with Job Corps. So as you know, excuse me, last month, the government terminated the AmeriCorps program, and then it announced this month the termination or ending of the Job Corps program. And even though there's been an injunction and the injunction was extended last week, we believe the handwriting's on the wall. Participants have already started leaving the facility, actively looking for housing, and we're looking at 200 students and maybe another 100 employees who may be losing their jobs. So we have been participating in a couple of kind of community-based grassroots efforts to provide resources to those individuals. And we had already had a job fair scheduled for tomorrow. But personnel reached out to us and said, hey, do you think we could do something where we could actually help some of these Job Corps folks? So personnel will be participating in our fair tomorrow. They have always participated, or historically they participate, but tomorrow they're going to actually provide technical assistance. So we're going to have computer stations, iPad stations set up downstairs so that people can actually apply for city jobs. We know that the bureaucracy of applying for a city job is often a deterrent. So personnel wants to help any applicant who wants to apply for a city job, albeit seasonal or permanent. So there'll be, we'll have boots on the ground to help those folks. And if there's an overflow, we'll open up our computer lab up here, not only for people who want to apply for a city position, but if they just need to apply for a position using a computer, we're going to open the doors for people to do that as well. So we've done some promotion of that. We've also been in communication with St. Louis Community College. They have advised us that they have a number of adjunct positions available and they're looking for instructors. So as those positions come in, we'll be pushing them out. But we do realize that employees are a little kind of skittish because they're being told, hey, you got rights, but people are nervous about their positions. And so we hope to have a good turnout and we hope to be able to provide people with some good job leads and hopefully some positions. We have been in discussions with an intern, or I think she's a permanent employee now. She's a Harvard fellow, about the process of applying for city jobs. And if the city has over 1,000 jobs and we got 600 people, some of those seasonal positions, they're not 1,000 seasonal positions, but the hope would be that some of those folks would be able to go into those seasonal positions if possible, in forestry and cleanup. So we think that there's some policy issue and some programming issue on a personnel part, but we're just going to keep our fingers crossed. But to highlight some good things as well, on June 6th, we did host a youth job fair. We had over 250 kids participate and over 20 employers. This just puts an exclamation point behind the fact that, the strong demand for employment and career development among the youth. And the one thing that also jumped out at me is that the babies brought their babies. I mean, we had staff holding newborns to allow these young people the opportunity to go and dialogue with potential employers. So, we're looking at, how we can maybe help, have some coloring books and crayons for people who are coming to the Workforce Center with their babies, with their kids, to give the kids something to do while their parents are working with our folks here. And then similarly, on May 28th, we had another job fair. We had over 100 job seekers. And again, the need is high. Okay. I don't know if I could really, because the Bible verse talks about the harvest is great, the laborers are few. I think it's the laborers are great and the harvest is few right now. We really need, there's so many people out here, whether they're youth, whether they're dislocated workers. And also, you know, we're starting to see a few immigrants coming in, people from other countries. St. Louis is trying to become a welcoming center. And that is another thing that I'm going to put for the next agenda in terms of making sure when people walk through our doors, if English is not their first language, they still feel welcome and know that they can get resources here, because that's starting the Hispanic population. We also have folks coming in from different parts of Africa. I saw some folks, I think they were from Liberia yesterday, a couple days ago. So, you know, there's just, it's never a dull day here. Our folks are doing great work. I would like to publicly also thank Ms. Cassandra and Shannon for their guidance, their assistance, and their leadership through this transition. It's meant a lot, and I will continue to lean upon them. And I would ask Shannon if I've missed anything. Did you want to talk about the P2P? Because I didn't put this on there at all.
All right, good morning, everybody. So, just a brief overview. We did pilot the Prisoner Prosperity Program, and in the midst of that, quite a few years ago, we originally had the Prisoner Prosperity Program that was going on where we were going to the jails, and due to funding, we had to pretty much cease it, but we were able to partner up with the commissioner over at the city jails to be able to pilot the program just to see what type of interest it would have. And we started off with around 30 guys, and due to the fact of the size of individuals that were very interested, we broke it off into two groups. So we meet every Tuesday and every Friday for about an hour, 15, hour and a half. But we would discuss things from a holistic standpoint of working on soft skills, working on financial literacy, working on the methodology of the head, heart, and hands from a psychological standpoint to help individuals prepare for their transition back out to the streets, into the real world. And so in the midst of that program, we ran it for 9 weeks, had graduation on the 10th week, and we had 21 guys that graduated out of the program. So far, we've had 5 guys that have actually been, well, actually, no, 6. I'm sorry. We've had 6 guys that have been released from out of the jails. And so far, all of those guys have been employed. And one of the guys was looking at 10 years. And due to the fact of him participating in the program, ended up getting 3 years of unsupervised due to the transitions that they saw in this individual since he had been a part of the program. So we've definitely seen some progress. Some of the individuals are getting out, and they're coming straight down the slate. You know, for them, they've been saying that we've been changing their lives, making them pretty happy about everything, and they've been definitely taking those strides. One of our youngsters extremely proud of him. As soon as he got out, he came in, got signed up for one of the programs, and then went out and got 2 jobs. And immediately they just been sticking to it. Anytime they've needed some extra support or anything of that nature, they've been reaching out, you know, to either Miss Hunt, Becky, myself, you know, just for that extra support or just words of encouragement when it gets tough out here. Because again, this journey is something new to them, because some of these individuals this has been their career, this has been their life due to the environment that they've grown up in. So you know, it's easy to resort back to those ways that feel so comfortable. So for them, they've been definitely reaching out to us as that extra support. So it's been a great honor to be able to be a part of it. So we have been in conversations with potential partners, as well as working on trying to get funding to go towards the program to keep it going. And we'd like to make it to where we do, you know, at least one every other quarter. Give us time to do, you know, wraparound services for those individuals that have gotten out, and make sure that we're able to put the best foot forward for those individuals. But that's the program right there in itself.
Thank you, Shannon. I see Charlotte and Eileen, so maybe Charlotte first.
Sure, thank you, Shannon, for a great report. I just wonder, just as an employer,
Mhm.
one of the gaps that I see for individuals coming into the workforce is kind of some of those basic skills that doesn't require a degree, but just kind of basic skills of navigating on a computer. We work with individuals with disabilities is our target population in our organization. And I wanted to get away from, we only employ those individuals in custodial or groundskeeping because they have significant disabilities. And so we started to move into some of those administrative jobs like contact center agents. And some folks would say, oh, there's no way that a person with a significant disability could be a contact center agent. We have people that are contact center agents. We have contracts with large employers as a subcontractor, and our folks are scoring, 100%, 85% on their assessments. They get weekly assessments during their training. And so where I'm going with that is that, I just want to see our folks be qualified for some administrative jobs that they're not, at 60 years old, they can still go to work. They don't have chronic back pains and all these things that we see from, just those strenuous jobs that folks will do. So anyway, I wonder if there's an assessment, and again, I know it takes resources, Connie and team, of the folks that are coming in. What are those kind of basic gaps that does not require a degree? Like right now, I need an administrative support, and I'm finding that people cannot type. They can't use a computer, and I don't need, can you use PowerPoint? Just kind of basic things just to support me. But I need it, so I can't hire someone and I say, well, I'm going to train them. So if there's some information or things that we can do on the Slate end that does not require a degree, that we can support our folks to get some of these admin jobs, really is for me, being on this board is just like a vision that we don't get the lower tier jobs all the time.
Yes, ma'am. So phenomenal job on you guys' behalf for helping those individuals making that transition. So with the pilot program, we are actually in communication right now to create this partnership with OVP and Unlock Labs to be able to create a pipeline or a training opportunity for those individuals to help them work on their computer skills, but also gain some type of certification along the way. And then in-house with Slate, we actually hold one of our business service reps employment and training specialists actually host resume writing, interviewing skills, as well as computer basics. And so we can send you guys out the flyer, to be able to get that out to individuals that, would be interested in it. That way they can partake in there. And she's literally teaching computer basics of, different skill sets to be able to go in and do the basic admin work as well. Because again, some individuals may be in the second part of their lives and they're still trying to figure out what they want to do when they grow up. And the computer base may be a skill that they understand that they need. So, but they may not necessarily know where to go. So we have those workshops. We definitely have those workshops.
Well, Shannon, I'm looking for an admin assistant. So
Okay.
I'm putting that out there to Slate. If you guys could send us some candidates, I'm definitely hiring.
Yes,
All right.
ma'am.
Yes,
Great,
ma'am.
thank you. Eileen?
I just wanted to say, you were talking about justice involved people. I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of the work that's being done by St. Louis University. They have that I think it's called Transformative Workforce Academy. I'm not sure, it's TWA. But we've actually hired a couple of individuals directly coming out of that program. So, it might be good if Slate hasn't yet established a relationship with them. They do have some resources and might be able to assist you in helping those individuals who are trying to find employment shortly after being incarcerated. So, and we've had good luck with them.
Good deal. Thanks, Ms. Caffey.
Wonderful to see all these connection points coming through in the conversation. Appreciate everyone working together as we really continue to connect folks to career opportunities.
And I would just add, Justin, I know Rebecca's on here and Shannon's been working on this too about bringing the AEL program back inside. Shannon, if you want to give an update, Rebecca, one of the.
I'll let Becky take that.
All
Okay.
right, good morning, everyone. Yes, we've been in talks with multiple partners, St. Louis Community College and St. Louis Public Schools to bring AEL and for the first time ESL classes back on site at Slate. And so we are super excited at that. We're looking for a rollout of end of July, early August to have those classes back in session here at Slate. And right now the idea is to have St. Louis Community College focus on the adults, and then St. Louis Public and the ESL groups, and then have St. Louis Public Schools focusing on the younger adults. So to be continued, hopefully we'll have a cohort to roll out and report on our next meeting.
Wonderful. Thank you. Connie, any other items you wanted to touch base on?
I can't think of anything. I think I'm probably maxed out right about now. So and there's Miss Hunt in the background with Rebecca. Oh, I would say a little bit of tentative bad news, and is that we are not sure what's going to happen with our AARP workers. And we have 2 dedicated staff. I mean, we just don't know right now if they're going to fund the program or not. So Miss Charlotte, you know, we might be throwing a Hail Mary pass to you to see if you could pick up one of our workers if that funding doesn't come through. You know, both of these women have had, they've been around for a while. One's grandson was tragically killed about a month ago. And then another employee, her daughter was with disabilities, who had passed away in the fall. And so she's still dealing with it. And so both of these women, despite their personal challenges in life, they show up and they smile, and I just would hate to lose them. So we're going to we're going to have to huddle. But if you have some opportunities, we're keeping our fingers crossed. But the AARP representative last week didn't really have the best of news for us. So that's another thing.
All right, thank you, Connie.
Thank you.
Svetlana, do we have any members from the public?
We have Nick Morrow here, but he's our counselor,
Okay.
our board's counselor, replacing Rebecca Wright. I'm not sure, Nick, would you like to speak?
Good
Hey,
morning.
Nick.
Amy.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Good morning. Yeah, my name is Nick Morrow. I'm an attorney in the city councilor's office. I'm looking forward to working with you all and getting to know you. And my goal is to help with legal compliance and mostly the Sunshine Law. And so looking forward to meeting you all.
Thank you, Nick. Excited to work with you. Okay, and with that, if there are no other matters, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. This is Charlotte.
Thanks, Charlotte. Do we have a second?
William Bell, second.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for your time and energy today. We look forward to continued work between now and our next board meeting, particularly on all the opportunities that have been laid out by Connie and team. All right. Thank you all. Have a good one.